Folks, welcome back. So, Joe Biden, son of a bitch. Somehow they got him to do a 60 minutes interview. And, I was just thinking when I was real young, my dad used to watch it. And I remember seeing the clock go tick, tick, tick. And I remember asking him, why are we watching this? This is super boring. And now I realize why he watched it. It's because there'd be politicians and presidents like Joe Biden who'd go on there and just talk straight shit out of their mouths. So anyways, they go through a whole thing, and it's always funny when they do these kind of interviews because they just give them softball questions, right? There's a lot of nicknames right now for Joe Biden. I don't really want to get into any of those anymore. His name to me now is Fuckface, and that's just what we're going with. So Fuckface gets on this interview, and for some reason, he decides to start talking about gun control. Can I just say that if you're not qualified to be able to say 5 sentences in a row without messing something up in them, you're not qualified to talk about legislation for an entire population of people. Is that fair? Is it fair? It's fair? Okay. But nonetheless, here we go. This should be fun.
For example, we passed the most extensive gun legislation in 30 years. Although I'm not going to rest till we get assault weapons banned, which I did. Okay,
let's just pause for a second there. You're not going to rest until you get assault weapons banned. Well, you better live till you're like 400 million years old. Also, what is an assault weapon? Nobody still has given me a definition. Do you mean semi-automatic rifles? Because when you say assault, where my mind goes is the crime rate and where it's at. And the fact that y'all will still not address it. Y'all let all of the assaults go on in America, and you want to do bail reform. You want to have this woke thought process on, well, no, they just assaulted an old lady, so, they didn't kill her. The fact that you can even say the word assault without cringing in your face with how the crime rate is nowadays is a joke. Don't attach your bullshit that's going on in America, and there's a lot of BS, but I'm talking about the crime rate, to a weapon. No such thing as assault weapon. It's a semi-automatic rifle, period. You figure some of your secret security would call you over and be like, Mr. President, come here. It's called a fucking semi-automatic weapon. Or in better terms, a semi-automatic weapons system. An assault rifle is something that your brain just made up with the rest of the goulash in there. Sir, can someone do that, please? Anyways.
Once before when I was a senator.
Assault weapons banned.
Assault weapons banned. There's no rationale. Deer aren't running through the woods wearing Kevlar vests.
Okay. Look, man, clearly you have a little bit of OCD, and that's fine. A lot of people do. I have a little bit of it myself. But you've got to be able to train your mind to not say the same thing over and over and over again. A deer in a Kevlar vest, you've said I don't know how many times.
Deer wearing Kevlar vests. Deer wearing Kevlar vests. Deer you're hunting or wear Kevlar vests.
And you know what's interesting about what ifs? We can do what ifs all day. What if the moon turned into the Hulk and came down to Earth and he was wearing a Kevlar vest and we shot him, but the Hulk isn't penetrated by bullets. So who gives a shit about the Kevlar vest? We can do what ifs until we're all just a bunch of what ifs. Why is that something that our president is saying? Why are we going to what ifs? Why are we not talking about just facts? All right, listen to this. Do you know how stupid deer are? Do you really think that they would be smart enough to go into somebody's house, put it on, and then go fuck with some hunter? Hey, come over here, shoot me. You can literally shoot shots right next to a deer's head, at least in Texas, and they will not move. They're more attracted to the sound. Oh, what was that? Continuing on.
Somebody came in and told you about Uvalde when it happened. And I wonder what you thought.
Again, I've gone to every one of those places. And in Uvalde, I spent time with every single 4 hours. 4 hours. And the pain. And it's just so unnecessary.
You're right, it is unnecessary and it is wrong. No one's family should be concerned about their kid going to school and possibly being shot up that day. But your infatuation with guns being the problem is a complete joke, and let me explain why. You fail once again to address the crime problem. What do you think someone who is depressed and has access to a gun and maybe lives in a big city thinks? Well, I just saw 4 gangsters on the side of the road today shoot up some people, so maybe I could do that.
So wrong. Who the hell don't get me going, but I've met with every one of those families and the extended families for 4 hours. Look, our kids should be learning how to read and write, not duck and cover. Think about that. And think of the mental impact on these kids going back to school. You saw it. It's wrong.
You're right. Think about the mental impact that these kids are facing going back to school when their parents just found out that you hired 87,000 IRS agents instead of 87,000 armed guards who are ready to protect kids at schools. Think of the mental turmoil that they are going through right now. Who caused that? Oh, was it you? Oh, well, fuck. Guess I didn't ask you that in your interview here, sir.
It's wrong. It's not who we are.
We know it's wrong. We know it's wrong. But you can still back out of it. Just tell all of the IRS agents, 87,000 of them, to fuck off and hire some people to protect our schools. Thank you for admitting you're wrong. Just do it.
The much more modest bipartisan gun law that passed this summer may be the best example of the president's legislative breakthroughs that no one thought possible. How'd an old guy do that? He asked us earlier. We have a theory.
And the theory is he probably sucked off a whole bunch of Republicans to get them to vote for this BS gun law that just passed. How else did it pass? How else did a whole bunch of Republicans, even in Texas? I don't know. I mean, that may be a crazy theory, but it's not as crazy as a Republican from Texas voting for gun control. Great interview.